I see you arrived there. You're good for sound. Mark Bailey, Minister for Transport Main Roads, here with Queensland Disability Network. All good to go? Okay. Well, look, e-scooters have been with us for a couple of years, and we're still getting used to them and how to use them well. And one big issue with e-scooters has been the parking of the franchised ones, where often they're left in all sorts of places, and for some people that's a really big issue, a really big human rights issue. You wouldn't park your car in the middle of a street, you wouldn't park your motorbike in the middle of the street, but a lot of people have been leaving their e-scooters right in the middle of the footpath, which means that if someone's in a wheelchair, for instance, or has difficulty getting around, they literally can't get to where they want to go. So we're very concerned about that, and we recognise that it's new technology, and there needs to be some reform to make sure people park them appropriately out of people's way and understand why that's really important. For people with a disability, it is their human right to go to the same places everybody else goes in the same kind of way. So blocking pathways with e-scooters is just not acceptable. So we've been working in conjunction with disability advocate groups like Queensland Disability Network with local governments on a parking plan for e-scooters and that sort of thing. And we've come up with a plan, and it goes along these lines. We have allocated parking bays that will be marked on the footpaths in yellow. We encourage people to use them every single time they see them when they're finishing their e-scooter journey. We're looking at a phone line here so people can report people who have parked at the inappropriate places, so action can be taken. And there'll be more people employed by the franchises to ensure that when they do know that the parking is blocking the footpath for people, then that can be sorted fairly quickly, and there'll be increased education in this area as well. So I'm very pleased about that. I thank the Brisbane City Council and the Townsville City Council for working so well with us on the e-mobility parking plan, and it will be rolling out progressively across the state through local governments and to some degree through Transport and Main Roads. And it's because of the hard work of people like Michelle Moss here and Uncle Billy Prince that we have got a plan, and we want to make sure that everybody knows how to leave their e-scooter in a way that doesn't stop people getting to where they need to go. It's their human right to do that. And I think this plan will be a really big step forward in terms of getting the balance right. People being able to get around on the e-scooters safely, but also people being able to get around their community safely as well. I've got Michelle Moss from Queensland Disability Network. Michelle.
Thanks, Minister. QDN welcomes the announcement of this plan today. Making our pathways safer for all Queenslanders is really important, and especially for people with disability. What this plan means for both riders to know where they can park and where it is appropriate to park, but for people with disability, this means that they'll be able to get around in their communities safely. For people who use wheelchairs or mobility scooters, it means the difference of being on a path that's blocked by an e-scooter or an e-bike and having to go out on the road with cars and be unsafe. For people who are vision impaired, it means the difference in not being at risk of falling over a device, a scooter or bike that is blocking the pathway. So we're really pleased that this plan has been announced and released today, and look forward to working on the actions and putting them into place, because we all have a role to play in making sure our pathways are safe for everyone in our community, and encourage people to get on board and to take action to ensure that our community is safe for everybody, including people with disability and older persons. Thank you. Thanks, Minister.
We've got Uncle Billy. Would you like to come and join us? We'll probably need these microphones if that's okay.
Just give us 2 seconds, sorry.
Yeah. Put my reading glasses on.
Has that height about that right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Perfect. You can come through with that as well.
Yep. Okay.
Sorry, mate. Which one is it? Yep.
That one? Hello, can you hear me?
How's that? How's that, guys? All good?
Yep. My name is Uncle Wilfred Prince, or Willie, as most of the people I know who know me. Yeah.
And how would you like us to spell that?
Wilfred Prince is my surname. Yeah. Yeah. Or Willie. Yeah.
So how hard is it to get around when there's scooters?
That's a very hard question, but a question that should be on everyone's mind when they use e-scooters or bikes, because I find it very inconvenient when I come across e-scooters that block footpaths, as it makes it very impossible to negotiate around them. I find that I have to frequently go on the main roads, which puts myself and my support worker in danger. To avoid these e-scooters and bikes that are laying or blocking the footpaths, as it is, it's very, very hazardous. Yeah, and I find that it's not one person's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility to ensure not only your own safety, but the safety of others that are with you, as well as the knowledge and that everyone should have. Yeah, because I find that if we all cooperate, we can have what they call a fully inclusive community that is accessible for everyone, not only just people with disabilities. We all need to get out there in the community, but we need to ensure, like I mentioned before, we need to ensure that bikes, e-scooters are properly stored. So, so everyone, not only people with disabilities, but anyone who walks along a pathway has a fully accessible pathway to travel. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Come back. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Uncle.
Thanks, Hughes.
That was
Okay.
great. Thank you.
I don't
very
know.
much.
Was that all right?
Excellent. They'll probably put these back up and
Okay.
ask me a few more.
Okay.
Get that one out of your way. It's just under your wheels
If
there.
we film you, what
Yeah.
we might do is that path there, we'll put a scooter on the path and we'll
Yeah.
have you approach the scooter and you'll have to move around it. Is
Oh,
that
yeah,
all
sure.
right? That gives us a bit of overlay for the story.
I can give you an example of Carindale Shopping Centre, the busway.
Yeah,
The platforms aren't that big,
yeah.
and yet you got e-scooters that are blocking a busway platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
that's happened to me yesterday at Carindale Shopping Centre.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a problem.
Yeah. Not only inconvenience to me, but mothers and parents
Yeah.
and the elderly who have to negotiate.
Yeah. I'm just going to do a few more words and then they'll probably get some overlay and some shots of you, Uncle.
Yeah, I actually won't need overlay. I've just been told we're going to do another job. But
Oh, okay.
We're doing another.
Yeah, sure. So, you good? Okay. Any questions?
There won't be any fines under this
Look, there is potential for people to be fined for parking, in a way that's really inconsiderate of people's right to get around appropriately. So, look, that is part of it, but we predominantly want to make sure people are well educated, that when they think about leaving the e-scooter, they think about it in a way that they would think about leaving a car, a motorbike, a ute. We don't leave them willy-nilly over a road just to block people, and people need to think the same thing about e-scooters as well. Look, I'll have to check on the actual fine value there for you, Jack, but look, we don't want to have to fine people. We want to educate them and give them options, make sure that, and we've already seen to some degree some compliance really improve in the last few months, which is really heartening. But as these parking plans roll out across local government areas, I think people will increasingly understand the need for this, and we'll be doing more promotion of that as well, so people really get the message.
When is it rolling out?
It's progressively rolling out from now. So some of the councils have already put in some of those parking bays marked in yellow boxes on the footpath. So if you see those in your e-scooter, that's what they're for. We want you to use them, and it'll be progressively rolled out at a pace that local governments are able to do with their workforces. Yeah, look, I think that e-scooters are a viable option and do contribute to people being able to get around easier. But like any new technology, people have to use them safely and within consideration of other people. That's why we brought in the speed limits for e-scooters there, so that reduce the risk of crashes with other cyclists and pedestrians and that sort of thing. I think we're just getting used to this new technology and making sure that the regulations and rules around it are appropriate, and also that people understand that. And that's what our education campaign will be about as well.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously that fines may be an option here, but I guess what's the real target? I mean, if it's education and awareness and the onus is on the rider to be doing the right thing, is that a tough balance to sort of, I guess, educate riders to do the right thing?
Yeah, look, I think people support the need for this. People who share the pathways, who see some these e-scooter riders do silly things, they want to see a better behaviour. A lot of e-scooter riders do the right thing. Let's be really clear. I want to thank them all that people are doing it considerately. There's plenty of people doing the right thing. There's just too many people doing the wrong thing at the moment. And some people just don't understand that, for leaving that e-scooter where it is actually blocking someone's human right to go where they want to go, to a doctor or to a service. So understanding what the implications of leaving that e-scooter across the footpath are, I think most people will do the right thing.
How did this issue come to light? Was there a large number of complaints?
Yeah, look, we had an e-scooter roundtable a year ago, and we brought together all the different stakeholders to look at the issue of e-mobility, e-scooters, what's the best fit in terms of regulation around it. And one of the key things raised by disability advocate groups was that getting around was actually a big problem when e-scooters blocked their path. They would often have to go backwards and go around a whole city block to get where they want to go, add 15 minutes to their journey, because someone was inconsiderate and had blocked their way with their e-scooter parking. So, that's a real problem, and that's what this parking plan is about, is trying to eliminate that. You wouldn't park your car in the middle of Queen Street or in the middle of Vulture Street, so don't park your e-scooter in the middle of a shared pathway. It's pretty simple.
Will it be up to police or council officers?
Yeah, look, I expect this will mainly be policed by local parking people from local government. They're much more on the ground in this regard. And look, but obviously if a police officer sees someone doing the wrong thing, they may well have a chat with them as well, and that would be appropriate.
And what about drink driving? Drink riding. Is that something that you're still looking at? Any new penalties around that? And so when are we going to see that?
Yeah, look, we are looking at working with Queensland Police around the regulations to prevent drink riding of e-scooters. There is some enforcement now, particularly Friday and Saturday nights, and we do see a big spike in our emergency departments late at night on Fridays and Saturdays and Sunday nights actually. And drinking and riding is certainly a major contributor to that. So if you wouldn't drive drunk, you shouldn't get on an e-scooter drunk either. They're both dangerous, not just to yourself but to other people. And so we're working through the detail. That one, it's a bit of a sticky one, that one, but we will land somewhere well. Police have got a lot of experience in enforcing the rules around e-scooters, particularly on those party nights. And I'm sure and I'm confident we'll land with a better set of regulations to really crack down on people doing silly things when they're drunk on an e-scooter. Yeah, look, we had a huge roundtable a year ago because we wanted to get the best practice set of rules and regulations around e-mobility in the country, and we've had a procession of reforms that have been announced already this year. So this is another one. This is the third wave of reforms. Parking was one that we need to do a lot of work with local governments because they're the ones who will implement it, right? Footpaths owned by local governments almost all the time, and so we wanted to work closely with local government to make sure that it was workable, that they were able to do it, that they agreed to it. So working across government there through the year was important, and I want to thank all our city council reps from Townsville, Brisbane and other places who have worked with us collectively on this because their work's been really helpful.
So you mentioned that there's a sort of handout and I guess staggered approach. I guess why has it taken a year to come up and set up now to talk about accessibility, particularly those with
Oh, look, quite simply, some of the things that we're able to do straight away, we did straight away. So early this year, there were first range of announcements. A few things took a little longer in terms of working with stakeholders, and so we've been rolling them out as soon as we can get them done. I think that's better than waiting a whole year until we can get everything together and then doing it. The speed limits have been in since November 1, and I think people have appreciated the crackdown there. There's still a minority speeding, doing crazy speeds on e-scooters, and they're getting caught by police, and everyone knows the rules now. So as soon as we're able to solve the problem, we implement it and get it out there, and we then back it in with education.
Labor and LNP, two parties prefer election at 50-50. Do you think if an election was held this weekend, Labor would win an election?
Oh, look, I saw that polling. It showed that there had been no change in the party vote in 6 months. It showed the disapproval rating of David Crisafulli had spiked because people are aware that he's just relentlessly negative and political every time he stands up. So, we're a third-term government in the middle of a third term. We're highly competitive. The Premier is still leading the opposition leader in double-digit points. Look, long way to go to the election, a lot of hard work to do. We'll stay focused as being a good government every single day, but I'm not too worried about any particular poll. But it does show that the opposition leader, David Crisafulli, is in a lot of trouble. He's stalled, people are working him out, and in the end he's just another petty politician who's trying to score points.
Do you think Labor would win easily?
Look, I'm loath to make predictions about elections. You've just got to, as a government, you've got to stay focused, work hard every day, stay in touch with the community, and keep doing reforms that help people. And that's what we're doing here today with this parking plan. We want to make sure that people with disability can get to their basic services without being impeded by people who are thoughtless and inconsiderate. Those sorts of things, we've got to keep improving our community every single day. That's what the Palaszczuk government has done since day one. And I can assure you, the Premier, one of the hardest working people I've ever seen. The cabinet members are really hard working and focused. We've had a very strong level of achievement this year. And, you look at the opposition, lots of lies about laptops, found out by the independent CCC report. We were telling pork pies, didn't apologise for it, didn't have the courage to stand up and say, David Crisafulli, I was wrong, I apologise, I won't do it again. Same old sort of tactics as Campbell Newman, whereas this government will keep working hard for our community.
Are you concerned Labor will lose seats to the Greens in this election?
Look, you can't take anything for granted in politics, there's no doubt about that. But, if our members continue to be hard-working and continue to back reform, they'll keep winning their seats. And, I've always worked hard in my local electorate. Every MP should always work hard in their local electorate every day. And, we've got to keep wording it every single day. You can't take anything for granted in politics. And I certainly don't. And I know my colleagues don't either.
You're running for re-election in 2 years' time?
Absolutely.
Just quickly on the DNA lab testing, how quickly is reform on that going to be given that the government's responses to it in 48 hours? The commissioners described the findings as a
Yeah, look, this is a very serious matter. We received the report yesterday at the same time as media and everybody else. I think everyone understands this is a very substantial report. The Premier said that she'll need time to read it and she'll be commenting 48 hours to digest it and discuss it with her advisors and to be able to respond to such a significant report. And I understand that she'll be doing that tomorrow. I think that's appropriate, and that's what she said yesterday. All good? All right, lovely. Thanks, everybody. Cheers, and thanks for putting us in the shade.